My people, I'm gonna talk to you about assumption and facts. Yes, man. I deal with this thing already. Assumption. I didn't put the facts, but then you could have easily imagine that if it's not assumption, then it's facts. I want to tell you that a lot of people get themselves in trouble because they assume rather than trying to find out the facts. And it's time people look into that kind of approach and stop it. Because if you check the levels, many people are loggers right now because of this thing. Yes, and I usually use a popular example, when I talk about assumption. So your neighbor, a female, may be afraid of rat, lizard, cockroach, and whether she live alone or she live with a man who is not there, and it's so happen that is when she is to maybe go shower or something. When night come, she see one of the very thing where she like, what she afraid of, and the neighbor who she lives well with, she ask him to come kill him or run him out. And a neighbor will say, hey, me see my come from over a yard one night there about 8:30, and assume that they are in a relationship, right? Because they're saying that he spent about 15 or 20 minutes, and that is enough for things to happen, when in fact the lizard might have been running from place to place, and it took a while to catch up with him and kill him. All right, you look at this picture, this background, you see these two birds. You could make the assumption that they are fighting when they could be playing. Somebody else may say they're playing when they are actually fighting. There are persons who will get upset because they get a delayed response. They get that somebody take long to respond to their text, or you send them something long and they send you okay, or they take hours to respond to you, and then you start to assume and even start to look back into your life, into the most recent messages sent, to find out what could cause him not to be responding to me. And I've sent this message 4 days now, or 4 hours ago. Maybe 4 days is stretching it. 4 hours ago, and that is not like him, that's not like her. And you start to let part of your brain, your mind, occupy things that it shouldn't be occupying, which is called assumption. When in fact, you didn't establish what could have been the fact where the person had a bad day, came home and was exhausted, and didn't even pay attention to the phone, right? So you went ahead and you assume the wrong thing. All right, you have certain person working in certain area, the medical field, the security field, and a policeman, for example, could go on a crime scene, and it is so it looks so bad, blood all over, and maybe double murder, whatever, and it impacted him so much, and he comes home to his girlfriend, his woman, wife, if you please, and she has a dinner ready, and it's meat, food with meat, and he says he doesn't want any food this evening, and instead of asking him why no want the food, a statement is made, say it look like you go eat a woman yard, or it like you went out, and we do these things and we get ourselves in a trouble. And what you do in a sense like that, in a case like this, to aggravate him, because he's there processing what he witnessed earlier the day, and here it is now, you come with your assumption that he must have gone out on a date. And you have people now, you started talking to them, and they have it to say that they know where you're going, and they know where you're going to, what you're going to say, and before you say what you want to say, they are interjecting and telling you what they think you're going to say. Those things are wrong, and we need to stop it. So you need to examine these things some more. You need to examine them deeply. If you say you're going to buy food, and the person didn't ask you to buy one for them, even by giving you their own money, you shouldn't be assuming that they no want no food to eat, or or it look like say they mean I don't want to spend no money. It could be that where they know you're gonna buy food, they don't want no food there, and of course they won't want to send you elsewhere, or maybe there's nowhere else but that. It could also be that the person ate a big food before them leave them house and no want no food. One thing you need to bear in mind is that people are not gonna tell you everything about them life. They could be going through stuff, yes, and they have reason for not doing or for doing certain things, and they just won't tell you. The thing to do, and I tell a lot of people this, maybe I don't tell enough, but me I beg enough to tell them. Ask more questions than you are prepared to make assumption. Sound like a cliche. Ask more questions than you are prepared to make assumptions, because when you do otherwise, you land yourself into problems, and sometimes those problems take a long while to find solution. So may I beg of you, a lot more could be said about this, but know yourself and stop hurting people by making assumptions. It's not all right. And another thing too, if you're standing across the road and the person who you know like is talking to somebody who you actually talk with, and they look across the road, don't go telling people about say are you them a chat. You couldn't hear. Motor vehicles are passing. You're a good 40 feet away from 40 meters away from them, across the road, and you're gonna say, I made them that chat come, then look over here upon me. They look in your direction. And if they mean not look on you, you cannot make those wild assumptions, yeah, to say that they might chat you. Come on, man, and that is one of the things where people get in such trouble with, If you just look past them, and if you walk in one room, come on now, and somebody you walk in one room, and the people them that talk, but as you walk in, they stop talk. Lord, I know me I come out to something nice, and something not so nice, but you know I chew that one you too. You can't take all the boxes them. And because the people then stop talk as you walk in, you go draw one chair somewhere else. Or take up your phone and say, you know what? As me go in the room and them a chat, then tap chat. Why you not think say? I trust they not trust you for hear what them a say about somebody else or about their own a business. Maybe two of them a discuss a business venture, the prospect of it, and they just don't want you to hear. But instead of your mind can't go there say no. Because you don't in a gutter. You have to think say, them a chat you. And that is why they stop talk as you walk in. Me say. And the book of James talk about the tongue, man. Me no know. We have to get that part right. Everybody, just about everybody guilty of this. But me I tell you, if you stop making assumption and ask question, yes, ask more question, you'll be in a better place. And if you're smart enough, because somebody you're going to say, and everybody want question. Well, showing when you ask questions, no, and people are uncomfortable, you will see that too. Yeah? But then it better you do that than assume and get yourself in a trouble. Look, man, learn from this. I'm out.